Oh yeah, my man. Welcome to Let's Talk at Z Now, man. It's such a pleasure to have you.
No,
For
it's a
sure.
pleasure, son. Thank you so much for hosting me.
Yeah, man. So this is our first time actually having this deep interaction. We're going to talk about a few things. I don't know if it's definitely going to be like a whole basic interview or maybe like more of a conversation. But anyways, so I would like to start from the beginning, right?
hmm
uh just to kind of get a little bit of your backstory, and yeah, a little bit about just yourself. Of course, a lot of people know you, like, duh. But for me, like, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that still just don't know your history.
Well, that's a very good question, and usually I don't want to talk about my past because it's kind of a different picture compared to what people see.
Uh-huh.
Most people see like, oh, this is a Kondwani. Can I just switch my earpieces because I'm not using the big ones and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so most people see the Kondwani that they see on social media as a Kondwani that talks on social media, as a Kondwani that you know, I don't know. In fact, there's a wrong impression of what people see. Most people feel like I'm a sarcastic guy or I'm a guy that just attacks people and stuff on
Mm-hmm.
social media. Well, but my background is I grew up with people, and I was taught to respect people, and I still have that respect. I mean, I still carry that respect towards people or towards a person that I meet for as long as that person is a human being. I also respect animals as well, plants and everything.
Animals.
Yeah. Of course, I do. I love animals. I used to have pets, but now I can't have pets because the apartment that I live in is not that pet friendly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't keep the pets, but I still treasure them. I mean, whenever I walk on the streets, I still feed street cats or street dogs and stuff. So that's the type of person that I am. And my background has been a bit of a mixture.
Mm-hmm.
Nangako Kondwani, Nangako Mayadi, you know. And I think where my life changed was at the point where my life changed was when I went to South Africa. And I think that was about 10 or 11 years ago.
Uh-huh.
When I went to South Africa, I had to mingle with different people. I think that was a transition period for me. Like I had to like see life in a different, angle, or it was just a different type of lifestyle that I was experienced to, I used to wait,
Mm-hmm.
nganafuma panganda nalaya, I'm going for, to do one or two things. But then before 2011, I never used to go, I never used to party. I never touched alcohol. I never smoked anything. Up
Mm-hmm.
to now, I don't smoke cigarettes, but I do drink, of course. But I was just an innocent child, like the upbringing was so good. I mean, I grew up in a Christian home. You wouldn't like wake up on a Sunday, you're lazing around the house. You have to go to church, you have to dress up. And we were like Jehovah's Witness, by the way. So,
Really?
yeah.
That's
And,
those guys are
yeah.
strict, right? As far as like the rules that you
Yeah,
have to
it's,
follow around the house.
well, I wouldn't say they're strict, but they're a bit religious. I mean, you just have to. How I wish we had this video on a live conversation, obviously, but because I don't usually want to talk about religion and politics. I always try to make sure I don't touch those areas. But Jehovah's Witnesses are more, what can I use the word conservative? I mean, they don't want to like, touch anything that is ungodly or something. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would consider them as people that are Christ-like. I'm not saying they are Christ-like. I know most people will debate, but based on that, I don't think if I had lived that life since the time that I'd, before I left ASA, before when I was in high school, by the way, I used to be one guy, even with my girls. My girls, this girl looks good in high school and stuff, but I wouldn't approach, because of my faith
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Yeah.
So,
Not until, yeah.
do you think that's where like it taught you to talk a lot? From like, were you one of those guys that used to go knocking on people's doors like ukaona muntu munjira, so you stop them, you start preaching to them?
I wouldn't say I was that I was that much into that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was trying to be initiated into that. I was just trying to be initiated into that because I even went to the Kingdom of War, and I went to like McKinney, Jehovah's Witnesses, men branch and stuff. So I wouldn't say like I was influenced. Uh, no, but probably yeah. There's every element. There's always a person that would add something that you might not even see, but it's just an addition to the way you live life, and it actually influences the type of lifestyle that you live. So I think it all started in high school, by the way. Growing up, I used to be okay. I grew up as a person. I used to talk so much, and I used to involve myself in so much
Trouble.
bros and feasts, yeah, and stuff. And I grew up with my cousins and stuff. I was too young by then, like 10, 12, or 13. And I would still we would just debate on something like, okay, Randy Orton is better than Edge, by then when we were watching the video.
Wrestling was big.
And we would fight over that. Yeah. We would fight over that thing like Brock Lesnar, and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially Vama wrestling. Also, we used to debate music. Music, who's doing better, I knew Makitu way before he became a big name, by the way, before he became a brand.
First,
now Makitu is a brand.
We're going to pause on Makitu. So we'll come back to Makitu. That's a hot topic,
Yeah. Before he became like a big person, by then Neo Maps, things that Neo Maps. So it was just something that I.
So no, but actually, speaking of politics, by the way, before we move on, somebody told me that you say that you related to the late former president Rupiah Banda.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
true? That's a very good question. I mean, what did you want me to answer? Because if you say, "Am I related?" I mean, you are related to me. I mean, you have to ask: is it like within the same blood, or because?
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like
relationship,
the same blood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course I am. I'm a Banda, and RB was a Banda, and there's so many things that I would explain. Like you said, okay, the issue of market. Okay, let me just put it this way. RB has a farm in Chalimbana, and we also have a farm in Chalimbana, and we also have a farm in Chipata near Gonda, somewhere there. Kuna chukia in a fashion Sakala, somewhere.
Uh-huh.
So when we're in Eastern Province, by the way, according to our culture, as in Easterners, I don't know if you're an Easterner or if you're a Bemba, we were taught to say pamunzi tikafika pamunzi pambuya mbuya Rupiah Banda before ka bowaitana before ka bofika state vehicle pada tifika pamunzi pa Arabi, you understand? Mbuya batu ambuya banji chimzukuru, like the way we would sit,
yeah,
using our fees, maybe or boarding schools. But then we used to go to boarding schools. The person that you saw as a president to us was a person that we knew as a human being that we can interact with. You understand?
Yeah.
He wasn't someone that people would view as a public figure. For him, he was a humble man, of which I do believe, when you humble yourself, then greatness follows and stuff. So he was that type of person. That's why even when I was so in Arabi is my grandson. Have you ever heard Arabi himself come on ready to denounce me to say, no, Arabi is not my son, or Coco is not my son, or my grandson, or something. Because for him, he knew the whole thing. So the people that tried to come up with this thing, they were being pushed by a certain agenda, They just wanted to say, okay, let's just shame this person. And it's obviously, or even Andrew Banda was being misled. Because Andrew and all these people, even the families and everything, we are family, we are one. It's something that we even go, they even know my family, I know their family, and we are all like banking on the same thing, you understand? Whenever I say, okay, I have to spend the night in their house, or their children have to come and spend the night in our house, we have no complaints, we have no issues with them. So at the end of the day, it's a bond that we created, and for me, that means a lot. According to RB, that's how I know it. So I don't blame anyone at the end of the day. It's just because hey, they wanna take it up and there. But whatever, I would even tell you to say, Arabi is the one that sponsored me to come here for school and stuff. You wouldn't believe it. Yeah. So why am I going to disrespect Arabi and say no, Arabi is not my grandfather after all he did? I mean, may he so rest in peace.
Yeah, no, for
if
sure.
I have to say, okay, Arabi is a bad person, do you think it would add up to anyone, or will I be ungrateful? I feel like I'll be ungrateful to say, no, this man is a bad person after all he has done.
Yeah, no, for sure. See, so one of the reasons I asked that, like, so if you were actually related to Arabi, then you are my brud. If that's the case, like for real, because I'm related to Arabi. My family, part of my family comes from Eastern Province. Kunyimba kuja.
Okay.
And that part of Chipata.
Kunyimba, kumwezi kwanda kunyimba. Apologies, I think Peswanga Black is the connect nan.
Kudiba chifu ndake kunyimba. Kudiba kwambizure.
Kwandake. Well, you see, Kwandake, that's where my mom comes from.
Oh yeah, for real?
I swear upon my life.
Bruh, so that's what I'm telling you. If you're related to RB, then somewhere down the line there is a connection of you being my brother. And then part of me comes from Northern Province, of course. I'm Bemba from my dad's side, and then Nsenga on my mother's side. So yeah, I've been to Nyimba. That was a good experience over there for sure. So no, but like yeah, so you talked about being in SA and then your life changed. So how did you end up to be where you at now?
Okay. It's been a bit of ups and downs. It's not easy. And then I think I still feel like my story should be able to inspire someone out there, that is still struggling or that is still trying to make it. When I was in SA, I was privileged. I had almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I feel like I was so young. I didn't, trust me, if I saw life the way I see it now, because I'm talking about 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
If I saw life that if I saw the life that I'm living now to the life that I wanted to live and compared to what I was doing, I don't think I would have been this person. But at the end of the day, I have no regrets. That was a phase in life, and I picked a lot of lessons from whatever I saw, because it was out of that experience that I knew, or I started drinking alcohol. I never drank alcohol in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a point whereby I was so frustrated. I was so depressed. I almost lost everything, and nothing was making sense. So I came back to Zambia for like 2 or 3 months. And when I came to Zambia, I was thinking it would be much better, but things actually got worse. I would meet friends in Chibolia. I had friends in Chibolia, like my high school friends. That trend, South Bay. South Bay, and you want to show off the chicks and stuff. Yeah. So I ended up, doing all sorts of shit. There was a point I remember that day I never used to share drugs, but I was found with those kingpin. I used to be found with those guys like the hardcore ones, in the pandemba, the one pass up, want to na do papa, and then mshanga.
Damn, bro.
Ah, yeah, I swear. So bambiri kune baodwanizo, that's why na influence ndiko nachikira amene kwatsinga ngapa Facebook ulikamba kachinyanja ndiva disinga ndizo places yambiko sevenda kukanyama, when I
Yeah.
arrived in Kanyama. I never used to stay there. I never used to stay there, but I used to have friends, And one of my friends, he had like a music studio producer there. So we used to chill there, when we chill, we would like record two guys, and when we record two guys, we'd go like, Chihuahua, we'd get some dope, and we go to Rhodes Park, or we go to kids or somewhere there. We just chill, we just feel fly,
Mm-hmm.
just say hi to the girls and stuff. That was just the type of lifestyle that we lived. And then there was a time when, things now just got so waste. Like, my dad kicked me out of the house and I had to go and live with those guys, And then I was like, what am I programming, This is the type of life that I'm going to live. So I just picked up myself and said, no, man, let me just stay clean out of all this stuff. And I didn't want to go back to that and like just ask for forgiveness and because my father is also toxic. Apologies to say that my dad is toxic. So I left the house and then I went to Lower Zambezi. Went to Lower Zambezi, Kumunzi Kujak, near Chirondo. I don't know if you know Chirondo.
No.
That's why the Zambezi River crosses with, Zimbabwe and Zambia and stuff.
Okay.
There's like a confluence here. So when I went there, I arrived as a person, and I just gave up on everything. I just said, okay, let me just start a new life in a village, like, away from everyone. I just like closed all the doors. I didn't want my family to know where I was. I didn't want my friends to know where I was, and just wanted to start up like a new chapter in my life. I just wanted like to build, and then when I become a better person, then I can be able to present myself to the public.
Mm-hmm.
I can unveil myself to the public. So what I did was, when I went there, Africa was sick. I went to Chief Chiawa's village, and then when I arrived there, I went to the chieftainess, like the chieftainess's house, straight up, without any invitation. I just arrived at the chieftainess house. That was a brave move. Yeah, that was
I'm surprised the Wakapaso they didn't kill you.
Yeah, no, they didn't, man. One of the Kapasos actually, when I arrived around 6, said I want to see the chief. The chief said, "Hey, who is this young boy?" And I had the good part of it. I was a smart kid in high school. I mean, I got some good points. And I said, "Come there." So they said, like, no, you cannot see the chief. Never. So one of the Kapas, I was just turning back, and it was at night. And that area, man, that area has like, it's one of the big 5, man. They've got elephants, crocodiles, man, lions, man. Yeah. And then one of the, it wasn't the Kapaso to say much, but it was one of those people that work at the chiefdom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He called me and he said, where are you going to spend the night? I said, like, I don't know, man. He said, you cannot spend the night in the dark or outside because you'll be attacked. So at the end of the day, that person just took me in. Initially, took me in just to spend the night, and then the following day I have to make plans, or I have to go back, or I have to, whatever it is. So when I spent the night in his house, in the morning when we woke up, man, I always try to be as transparent as I can be. I always try to be as honest as I can be. So I sat him down. I said, Tama, now I'm sure. Of course. Got my papers. I had to show him now because I had an opportunity, and I've been trying to find something. I said, "Are you sure?" No, you cannot go anywhere, because I explained my story to him. I told him about all the experience that I went, the South African thing, coming back to Zambia. And I said, "No, you won't go anywhere." And he wasn't even an educated man. He was just a fisherman living by the side of the river. Man, his house was just small house, and they had a grade 11 pupil. And I was so good at math. So the very second day, like when he left me trying to talk to the chief, I called the kids and I started solving mathematics, showing them things, on my phone and stuff. So the whole family developed that love in me. You understand? I was instantly loved by them. They would say, "Don't go, just sit with us." I swear. Even the father, when he came, he said like, "Oh, their children, the other child was in grade 11. He was a guy saying, "Oh, my son, this guy is intelligent."
Mm-hmm.
He would give me homework, like when I spent like 2-3 days, give me homework. So for him, I help him. I do. He became so interested in school, and the dad was like, and I was just humbling myself, man. It was a house with no electricity, but we just go to this river. We used to have lots of fish, hippo meat and stuff. And by the way, I never told them. I never told them where I came from, man, but they just loved me. That kind of setup. So time came in and I had to print my CV, man. It was even so hard for me just to print a copy of a CV. One copy of a CV was so hard because there's no electricity comes in and it goes at times. But they've got like some tourist resorts. Because when you're in Chiawa village, you can see Zimbabwe on the other side. You can even see the lights in Zimbabwe,
Mm-hmm.
So I was told like, okay, get a job. I started looking for a job. And one day, I went to fetch water on a borehole. I met two white guys and, they live there. They just want the water that comes from the natural, core of the earth. And they said, okay, come, we'll look for a job for you. And okay, long story to cut it short. I had all those until I finally got a job. And the first job that I got, I was offered as a stock counting clerk at the Gwabi Lodge. I used to fill in all those boats that goes on the Luangwa, Zambezi and Kafua River, where the conference is. Man, I used to be a boss. I started bowling. Not until I messed up. Then I messed up again. Yeah?
You became the chief.
Then I messed up. Then I left.
Bro, what did you do? This watch still there.
There was like okay, I used to bowl. We used to sell carries at diesel, but there's like a pump station, like a gas station, So like a buena my boats at the deep stick, When I dip, I'm dipping in a pamamba cook swine with like the person that drives the boat. We come to say that bomb that I have. Then there's a panga now I mean cook swine. Then tilonga to the food tank. Then tendo gulisa bajoma machama garden kumadimba koja. But since there's a pressure mdala. Pressure is akwati ndalama zikabaza park, and then you're in a village, you are young. Imagine I'm still young now, but imagine me 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, or 7 years ago. I was too young, man.
Yeah.
So I used to make like in a day, I would make like 5,000 kwacha cash. What am I going to do with the money? I'll just go and party into. I reached to a point whereby I used to influence people to book taxis. We go to Chirundo, we party. That's why I was fired. Slept 3 nights, job Kuboya and Lanira. When I came back, the Chimzungu just came in a shot. You think we're here to play, you are fired. I was warned several times, but I was still young, For me, I didn't take that job as a job that I wanted to do because I saw myself way beyond that. You understand? Of course, I was wrong, and I have to apologize to that person that offered me a job. I'm still sorry up to that time, but I was a young person, and I never viewed life the way I would still view it now. That was a golden opportunity, and I wouldn't want anyone to pick up a chance like I had and waste it. because those are wasted years. Those are not years that I'm proud of. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
proud
for
of
sure.
anything. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've been in
So
similar situations as
yeah, yeah.
myself.
So when I lost the job, to be honest with you, I suffered. I had to go back to the same position where I was. I had to go back to the neighborhood, to the ghetto again. Luckily, I realized if I have to spend 3 days maximum in this neighborhood, I just smoke with these guys and drink with these guys, I'll become a wasted product. Of which I said, no, I'm not going to step into this thing again. I swear I kicked myself out. I had a laptop. I had to go and sell a laptop for like 1.5. Then I upgraded the phone. By then I had the Huawei phone. And then I bought a few clothes. Like I went past Saraula, kuja Simpson side, kuja wama guset matraus. I bought matraus. Then I went to print out my CV Zambi, Then I said bye to the guys. I said, do you know that the money that I was left, it wasn't even enough for me to get a bus to go to South Duanga because I had the job offer I had applied earlier on. So they had given me a job, but I was still working. So I said, I'll just push myself. Napa nakwenda ka bus kaja by then sinikumbuka tutuma 5 quarter tuma bus undofika pa Charleston pa Charleston pa pomamba pa matanki as you paten off your airport. Man, that's how I hopped into that bus. And then and then I met the police officers. I told them, police officers, help me understand. I know how to explain to people. I know how to talk to people because I financed this game. And those guys were like, okay, we'll put you in a truck. That's how I hopped into a truck, man. I was in Chipata the next minute. When I was in Chipata, I hopped to Mfuwe. In Mfuwe, that's another story. When I was in Mfuwe. You know Mfuwe, right?
I've never been to Mfuwe.
Lodges. Hey, but it's lit there, man. Maybe when we both go to Zambia, I'll take you there, man.
Yeah, for sure. I've never been. Lit. I just hear about it for sure.
It's a nice place, man. That's why Makebi Zulu, the former politician, he was an MP there. Yeah, so from Fuwe, I work. Now there, I was more focused. I said, like, okay, let me just bury this thing. I'm no longer a child, Let me just focus on life. And then I had to raise money. To be honest, I brought myself here. I paid for my school fees on my own while working in Zambia.
See, okay, that point right there is very interesting. So that was through what, college? Like you paid yourself through college, or are you talking about high school?
No, college. That was university life now.
Yeah.
And by the way, I didn't come here for university. I came here for a master's, but for my university life, I was in North Macedonia. I used to live in Skopje. I don't know if you know the city, somewhere in the Balkans. That's where I did my my university life. And I spent 3 years there before I came here. And I've been here for like 5 years. So I've been away from Zambia for like 11 years in total.
Have you visited since you've been away from Zambia?
Of course, I was in Zambia recently.
Yeah.
But not this much recent, but I mean, some years back.
And so the thing that I wanted to ask you is, you putting yourself through school, like, how did you have that balance? Because most people right now, especially in today's, generation in Zambia, like most people cannot have that balance of working and at the same time, being in school. Like they can only do one thing.
Well, that's a very good question, but we also have to look at it. With our labor offices or the institutions that are in charge of work and stuff, I think we need to sit down and look into this issue, because this is quite a sensitive issue. In Zambia, it's way different.
Yeah.
From where we are, knowing that in Zambia it's hard for someone to balance both work and education.
Right.
We would start in terms of safety of a person. Most companies here, if I had to go and work for 2 hours, I can still walk on foot.
Yeah.
to my, to my apartment and stuff. But in Zambia, imagine you live in Kalingalinga or you live in Kanyama, and then you have to work North Mid. You can't be safe to walk towards that journey. Let's say if you knock off at 12 midnight on 11.
Yeah.
It's impossible, I understand.
Yeah. So
it's about the safety, but it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but what I would advise most Zambians to do is you can actually engage yourself into a certain business and disciplines. I mean, discipline matters the most. So here it's been kind of easy for me because I can work during the day and I can also work during the night, and I'm guaranteed to say I'm safe. And also, it's up to the. I think I said I wouldn't want to be so much political on this issue, but the government also needs to, come up with a plan on how they can be able to help the citizens. Because most of the people that attack people, I told you earlier on that I used to live with people in Chipolia, Kanyama, and stuff. Why do those people commit crimes? It's not like it's for fun. It's because they need to eat. So they see you with a cell phone, they want to like grab it away from you. Imagine you're coming from work, that's your own hard-earned money, and someone just takes it away from you. So what I'm trying to say is I was able to balance it. It was because of discipline. I'm not saying where I am it's safe. There's some kind of racial debate here and there.
Yeah.
In terms of race, yeah. So it was about hardworking and just me pointing to what I wanted to do. And up to now, I still pursue studies. I'm not yet done with my college degree and stuff. I actually started pursuing my second degree, and I'm doing law at the moment. First year.
Okay, so no wonder that's why your content is like that. We'll get to that. So the point where you said, you were supporting yourself and working through school. So was that after you went there, or were you sponsoring yourself in Zambia?
I told you, my parents are toxic. Not my parents, but my dad is toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do I mean? Like he's toxic. He's a toxic dad. I don't know if the people that are going to view this, but he's that type of person that, he doesn't say congratulations, son. It has never come out of his mouth. He has never said, okay, I'm proud of you. Even if I do something amazing today, he will still say it's below par. That's the type of person that he is. But he never gives me that, platform to do whatever he wants, He wants me to become an astronaut, but he doesn't want to pay fees for me to become an astronaut. That's the type of person.
So then how are you going to become an astronaut?
Ask him. He wants me to become a pilot, but he doesn't want to pay the fees at the pilot school. I would go today and I would get a quotation and I would enroll, but I would ask him like, okay, these are the fees that I needed. In fact, don't even send the money to me because there might be a benefit of doubt. Just pay to the school, but he would still say no. In fact, he would say, okay, that's a good thing. It would take me to convince him to say what I've said is the best thing, but for him, he would just say like, you wasted your time 2 years ago. You would have been a medical doctor in 5 years, and he's so aggressive when he talks. So that actually pulls me down a bit because there's no appreciation there.
Do you think that has somewhat maybe affected you just in your own personal pursuit, whether it's like your ego, whether it's your own just the way you look at yourself, you know what I mean? Like has
that has influenced me.
Yeah,
of course, that has influenced me so much. Because even as I'm talking to you, I just got an admission today. As I'm talking to you, like I got an admission. I have to study law, and I'm not asking him to like pay for my school fees. I can settle the bills myself. I can settle the fees. I can pay, But do you know what? I just asked him like to go and do one or two things for me, which I needed with my high school, like just to get a letter from my high school and stuff. And he says like, "Oh no, I can't go and do that for you for free." And man, you're my dad. Forget it.
Then how's that relationship then between you guys? Because now, like, of course, like, you grown, but just because you grown, you're still your father's child. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, but he says like, you come to Zambia and get your own things, man. Fuck off.
Damn,
I ain't gonna do anything
he's
for
like
you.
that.
Yeah.
Shoo, man. Wow. Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. That's the whole chemistry. I mean, we're not in bad books. I mean, to be honest with you, we're not in bad books to do talk. But I think my dad is way more of a competitive person. I don't know, he's competing against the known or maybe the friends and stuff. Simply because the friend's son did that and he wants me to do the same. So he's that type of father.
I see. Which, it can make sense. Like, parents sometimes they just have these unrealistic
Man, but my
expectations.
dad, like I told you, my dad is toxic.
Yeah.
My dad is a very toxic person. He's a very if he was a very good person, I know my dad has instilled that sense of competition in me, of which I agree. When I was in high school, he invested so much, bought me books, got me everything that I needed, took me to tuitions and everything. I'm okay with it. He sacrificed, but he feels like now it's time for him to eat.
I see.
Mhm.
Yeah. That can be a whole debate on there. Like, I guess, as far as, like,
Well.
at
But
what point.
then if he wants to eat, I've always been surprising him on each and every occasion. He has never asked me for something, but I'll just buy him something. I'll ask him, okay, we'll discuss what you want and everything. And at times I even send him money, man. Just send him money, like just for something. Just go and get yourself a nice, a delicious dinner and something. But I feel like the problem that is there is my mom died when I was young, and he has engaged himself with different women, and he sponsors more. More of the female side of the woman than he does to us as in his children. Because I'm not the only person complaining. I've got some siblings as well that are still facing the same challenges. So.
Yeah, I don't know why men go through that. We have a similar experience, once it gets to that. And, I don't know why, male parents feel that urge to do that.
but it's not like none of his children are, maybe except for my last born, our last born, my young brother. He's in high school, he's in the 12th grade now. He's the only person that wants things from him as it stands, because
Right.
two of my sisters are here, by the way. They're all here. Me, my other brother is in Zambia. He works as a mechanic, and then in a big company, like a mechanical engineering company and stuff. And then I have a young brother that works as he doesn't work. He's a student. So he doesn't even have that stress and that pressure, but he's just, I feel like he's an insecure person, man. He's so insecure, and he's just, man, I'm so sorry to use these words on my father, but he's so toxic. He's not a good man. He's
Yeah.
not good.
That
He doesn't mean well for us.
yeah, it sucks. And
Yeah.
the only thing.
And the thing is, I know most people say, "Oh, why do I even have to talk about your maps and everything?" Because I feel like I have nothing to come back to Zambia for. Like, imagine if my dad had given me a very good soft spot whereby I can come back to Zambia, look for a job and do this. Man, I would have come back to Zambia. Obviously, I wouldn't insult anyone. I wouldn't talk ill of anyone. But it's because of my father's thing. I still feel like no one gives a shit, because my mom died and my dad is the only surviving person that is there, man. So why am I fucking coming to Zambia for? Like, I'll just get a citizenship here and just live my life here. And I can just say shit about your maps. I can say shit about anyone. In fact, the best thing that I would have been doing now was to, motivate your maps or motivate the other person out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't work, man. it just doesn't work because I'm also frustrated. I don't blame your mops. I don't know the background, or I don't blame Makitu. I don't know the background. But also, that just triggers my anger, man. If you check on most cases or domestic violences and stuff, most people that act so weird or so crazy, it's based on what they went through, man. It's because of their history, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we actually jump into that, so what I wanted to ask you, I guess, is, like, first of all, like how, so, from the explanation that you've given me, I can understand, why, I guess you choose to look at things from that perspective. And before we even, whenever we were discussing doing the interview, the question that I wanted to ask you is, do you think, the way you put out your content, don't you think it's toxic?
Well, it's not always toxic. And in all honesty, I feel like I'm a person that speaks what I see. I mean, whatever I see, that's what I would speak of. I mean, I would always speak of something that I see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a person that relies on reported speech. Someone said that, someone did that. So I might be too quick to judge, but whatever I say or whatever I do is based on the things that I've seen. So if I say your maps up another thing, so for example, give you an example, your maps dumped the woman that helped him. Kanji is doing fine. I mean, that doesn't mean to say I'm being toxic against your maps. But if you check content, man, even in the US, you've got people that criticize. Now, I don't even want to jump into so much the academics,
I think,
or maybe,
but
or slick talk. I don't want to talk about slick talk. I don't want to talk about Trevor Noah. You see how those people would even attack
yeah,
a head of state and stuff. But no one has. But in Zambia, when I talk negative about Choma, someone says, "Oh, so Zakuletea Simon." Oh, I mean, that's the type of background. I mean, the backwardness that we have in Zambia.
Yeah, but see,
some of these things, some of these things are just petty issues. And we actually, when I talk about Chomaps, I actually promote his music because I would speak about Mr. Romantic. I would even sing a song, play his music is in his background. This is true advertisement. But for him and the fans, that's his type of mentality that we have. The mentality that we have in Zambia, that mentality is so backwards. Because what?
Now, like, okay, Kondwani, look at it this way, right? So, in a sense, right, like the culture, like you comparing two cultures that are different. Now, I understand from one perspective, Zambians on social media.
Okay.
Let me finish the point.
Culture,
no, let me finish. Let me finish the point. I understand from this perspective. Zambians want to be conservative on social media. They want to be very, respectful. Like, they don't want to be politically incorrect on social media, right? They want everything to be clean, cool, whatever. But then, if you look at the same people in real life and things that they do, things that they say, it conflicts with what they do. Now, when you're on social media, you're doing certain things, people do the same. It's just that they don't put it on social media, right? Now, because of that, they're going to look at you who's doing it in a different way. Like, damn, bro, like you really have to come out and say this, So now my question with that is, so if you say that you're negatively doing that on social media, and now you're dealing with his population, this whole group of people that don't really, I guess, resonate with that. When they're looking at this like this is off. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the conflicts come from.
First of all, let me just give you an example based on this. Jesus Christ, he had only 12 disciples, but he lived among millions. Correct. Do you know why? You need few people to believe in you than to have millions of people smiling, giving you praises, fake praises. I don't even care. Most people even come to my page. Oh, Coco, your page is only like less than 200,000, and you're talking about someone that has put 500,000. Believe you me, when I talk negative about your maps or my two, they watch my video. Even these videos we are recording, they'll watch. Probably it will even keep them entertained the whole night. They'll be watching this video. It's just that it's not live, but if it was live, even the moment that you post, I will share the same video, and you see people still watch. So let no one deceive you to say, do you know what? Vena biliva apanamba kamba mchinyani. Oh no, ufange suna liking ufange suna commentepo, but kuche waitamba message data kupelekea. We deliver the message. So what was your question again?
No, my question was like, so, if you say that, you say things negatively, right? And then, the people of Zambia will be like, well, when you come to Zambia, we'll beat you up.
No one gives a shit. Who's going to beat me up, first of all, Who's going to beat me up? Who's got the guts to come and beat me up?
Die-hard fans, nama junkie ones.
So you think me, I don't have my junks, nama die-hard fans? Which one? Ngatingi kumatero makituti mvula bamba. Don't even deceive yourself to say like, this person is going. No, man. So you think me? I was at Matero Boys. If you follow this interview from the start, from the word go, I told you to say I lived in Chubodia. I abandoned my house. Me, I've got loyal people that are loyal to me up to now. I still communicate, and I'm still loyal to them. You know what I do? I send them 500 to go and do a guy and buy. But King, don't you see the people that shout up? Even now, still got people. Even now, you see, Navara Soja.
You also Soja.
Commander.
God, okay, so so when it comes to your maps, Marky 2, maybe Slap D not so much, but these two, like, you throw.
Why do I put them under the train? I throw.
Yeah, you throw the hell out of them.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you have is it pure hate that you have for them? Like, do you really hate these guys?
No, hate is a very strong word, but I dislike them.
Dislike. Yeah, so
I dislike their music. Not them, but their music.
Why?
Them as human beings, as Makitu, as Yomaps, I have nothing against them.
But Yomaps is the most happening guy, like, in Zambia. I don't know if any artist bigger than Yomaps.
But I don't want to jump on the bandwagon, man. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon of shit. I wouldn't want to jump on that shit.
Okay. So is that the only reason that makes you to dislike Yomaps? Because he's the biggest artist in Zambia? Or what's the reason behind?
What did you say? Yomaps is what?
I think he's the biggest artist in Zambia so far. Like, who is the most happening?
If Yomaps is the fucking biggest artist in Zambia, then Zambia is a country of bullshit. I swear upon my life.
Okay, so according to Kondwani, who's the biggest artist in Zambia right now? Like, according to you,
who's the biggest?
Yeah.
Who is the biggest artist? I think Slap is the biggest artist.
Yeah, I mean that can be that's debatable.
Okay.
Like, Slap D has done a lot.
Danica is the biggest artist. If you don't want to give the new school, I'll give you the old school. Danica.
Right now you're reaching. What is Danica right now doing to make Danica the biggest artist? If you
Danica festival, has Yomaps ever hosted a Yomaps festival? Danica hosts a Danica festival, and you can see international acts coming in, performing and doing this. Because even Rough Kid is better than Yomaps. So what are you talking about?
Hey, once again, if where your dislike for Yomaps comes from, that's all. Kiddist. So you don't like Kiddist. You don't like Kiddist, so you don't like Yomaps.
It's not that I don't like Kiddist. I just don't like the way she behaved when she was whipping Dave, and she never gave an apology. Besides that, I'm not against anything.
Okay, so interesting. Now we got somewhere. So, do you think because she didn't actually apologize for that behavior, and then Yomaps, ends up with her? So,
No.
do you think that's like Yomaps condoning that behavior?
Okay,
Or
I'll
like,
ask you a question. I'll ask you a question before I answer a question.
yeah,
When Eve ate the apple, don't you think that God blamed Adam?
yeah, God blamed Adam for sure. He was the one he asked.
Yeah, of course. Of
Hmm.
course. So something, he did ate the apple and Yomaps partook of the apple. Here we are. That's the same story.
I see. Okay, I see. I see. Fair enough. I can see why. I can see why, the dislike. Now it makes sense, at least. So people actually
Mhm.
can understand. Because when we see like you post something or whatever, like you don't like it just comes out of, the ad, like, damn, like this is strange, you know what I mean? Because it seems like some of the comments that I read from people, like people will come back at you and say, like, well, don't you have anything better to do? Like, do you just spend your day, scrolling through these people's
No,
lives and you know what I mean?
actually, I actually have so much to do. Tell those people that you actually have so much to do. I'm done with my master's and I'm getting my second bachelor's and I'm working. So, yeah, of course, I have so much to do, but I just do this out of fun. By the way, I don't get paid to do this. I've never had put any affiliates on my page or anything, except when I wanted to add employed one person to be managing the page, and then he ended up posting some crap.
Hmm.
So my page ended up, being deleted. Some, like all the posts that I posted for this year, I think the whole content got deleted and stuff. But besides that, I don't think I and it also came up. Let's address this story again. There was a story that I was deported. I was even given 48 hours by fashion police. So I've been waiting for 48 hours, but it's been more than 3 weeks now. I don't know, two or something.
They said you got deported. I didn't hear of that story actually.
Yeah, they said I was being deported because of one or two things. You know what happened? Let me just try and clarify this issue, just to make it more appealing to more people, just for people to understand. So there was a story that came across social media. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 weeks ago that I
Hmm.
was being deported. And you know what happened was I went out with friends and I went to have a couple of beers and stuff. So I came back in the morning and
Hmm.
then I felt like, okay, let me try and cook. Yeah. So as I was cooking, you know, I ended up sleeping on the bed,
Yeah.
and the house was, I mean, the pot was burning in the kitchen, and then it triggered the fire alarms, the fire alarms that are
Yeah.
placed on top of the roof and stuff. So we had the ambulance, police, and stuff. So they gave me a few documents. I would have shown you the documents now. Probably I do have them. Yeah, that's a good part. Yeah, I have them. So I was given these documents actually, you know, which I was told to sign and stuff. I know I shouldn't be presenting these documents to people, but I was told to sign these documents and stuff. You know?
Yeah.
So when I signed these documents, this is my Zambian passport in case someone doubts that I'm not a Zambian.
Of course. Of course you're Zambian.
So
Uh, somebody thinks you're not in Zambia. But that's an
yeah,
interesting point there. When I went to Zambia, they had me in the
uh,
immigration room, in the immigration room in Lusaka, not immigration room, passport office, because I had to go and renew my passport. This guy kept me there for 1 hour, interrogating me, thinking that I wasn't a Zambian, I was a foreign. So I know.
yeah. So so I just had to show them like, okay, I went to Zambia. No, the passport the point
Yeah.
in Zambia. Yeah.
So they gave you those papers to sign, and that was pretty much
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the end
no,
of it.
man. Like, the thing was, the house got burnt, and I was still in a formal process of like getting the house contract and having it insured. because I didn't rent the house, but the house was rented by my employer, like the company that I work for.
Mm-hmm.
So it was still in the procedure. So when the house was burning, the police came and they asked for my IDs and stuff. So I had to produce all those documents, and they took me to the hospital. Man, that was the first stage. I thought like it would end at the hospital because they wanted to check my lungs and the smoke that I inhaled and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The next minute, after everything was clear, I was taken to a police cell and I was detained like for 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 2 hours or so.
Yeah.
They brought me food, of course, but I couldn't like figure out things. And they said, okay, blah, blah. And then they were saying like, since the house hasn't been done, so you'll be deported. And I had a cell phone in my pocket. So I started texting like friends and families. I was telling them, oh no, they might deport me, because and I was so confused. Like the house was on fire, like it didn't burn like the roof and everything. The roof was okay, but it had just like that smoke, like the fumes and everything. There was so much fumes in the house. So I was like texting, I might get deported. I'm worried and stuff, And those people just picked a single message, sent it to like Fashion Police, Bubugaga. And the next thing, like in 12 hours, 48 hours, let's be at the airport. This guy's getting deported. Man, I have not even approached my lawyer.
Let's be at the airport. See, when I end the live.
No, I went live, and then the day that I went live, I was actually shaking because I had like a hangover. I took a bit of alcohol because I was trying to kill the whole vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like shaking, and people were saying, we can even see you're shaking. I was like, guys, take it easy. Come on.
Muito nicho de alcoholic.
Alcoholic. Every day,
what are you drinking, man?
Yeah, I'm just drinking like some Mamara. It's called Mamara.
Wine?
No. It's a lager.
Oh, it's a lager. Are you a lager drinker? I don't like lagers or beers. I like wine.
I took a wine, but I have work tomorrow. I mean, it would going to feel more. Now, gayari la alam na pila bura na bed na roller shock.
Yeah, man. So I think and most people don't understand. Like, that's why you have like insurance on the houses, like all those things.
Even medical cover, man. When I'm sick, I have to like go for it, man.
Yeah, all that stuff gets taken care of. Now, like, so, bruh, but see, the thing is, still talking about like the negative part of the internet, but you beef with everyone. And then when you talk,
I don't beef.
Yeah, you beef with anyone. You have,
but maybe I might be against their opinions, but I don't beef.
All right, so you have a lot of people that you're against. Now, one person who like went heavy on the response was Mr. Lee's employer.
Mr. Lee's. That Mr. Lee's employer. You know what? When that whole video came back and I saw it. I have a team here. Like we watched the video and they were saying like I was asking. Look, I wanted to come out aggressive that very day, but my team told me like, no, man, don't pay attention to every dog barking. That's a dog barking. So some dogs sick. They just move away. So I just decided to like, okay, let me just, because do you know what Mr. Lee's employer is trying to do? He's trying to gain momentum or maybe a part of fame or a piece of cake out of me. But I feel like, the whole game, the whole entertainment industry, if you become creative, you become creative in one way or two. The way you've become creative, as I said now, you're getting people to interview, you're getting us to interview, this is you being creative here, you see? Right. The next moment you interview Mr. Lee's employer, same person. So you also hear the other part of the story. So for Mr. Lee's employer, I'm not against him. He was disciplined when he was taking commercial, so I don't feel like it was even necessary.
He was this.
Parang pasa spring. Nakumcha this spring.
That topic, I really want to ask you what was going on, right? Because there is so many stories that are that's around that.
No. He just came back with his own imaginations and stuff.
So now, like, so so in the same spectrum of like the way you ignored Mr. Lee's employee.
No, because I couldn't give him my attention. Nimbo affair, nimbo ya Mr. Lee, nimbo affair ya Mr. Lee, ni popi. Mwalimu shwa popi, imbo ya kwacha zanga.
Popi ni jishwa. Now, but listen, my question is, so the same way that you ignored.
Nimbo kwa kalingalinga, jagai. Nimbo kwa kalingalinga. So imbo kwa kalingalinga just now chana. Ngui pasa shima bonzo pa bin kwa missis.
Okay, so isn't that the same thing? Like if your map slapped your Mark 2 doesn't respond?
No, it's a different way, man. My vibe is different. What's the difference,
bro?
My vibe is different, man. You cannot compare me to Mr. Lee.
No, I'm not comparing you to Mr. Lee. Look, man. I'm not comparing you to Mr. Lee, but I'm comparing the action. Like,
wait,
guys don't respond.
Wait. Me, I'm not a joker. That's the first thing. Me, I'm not a joker. Even Yomaps, do you know why I would say this? Yomap has responded to me, but he has never responded to me on Facebook because Yomaps' wife, Kitist. Often sharing a number, I can share if I have to become childish. I can even share my screenshots when they asked me to put down some posts which I've been posting, which they thought were so offensive. Mm-hmm. So you cannot compare me. I've never asked Mr. Lee. Man, me, I'm on another level, man. You can't compare me to Mr. Lee. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, like
what the fuck?
Like, look, listen.
Man, you can even see my setup here.
No, look, listen. I'm comparing. I'm asking the question like,
man,
the part of just being ignored, right? But now you're saying that okay, these guys actually.
He has never ignored. Even Mark 2 has never ignored. Mark 2 answers indirect. Mark 2 cannot answer directly because he knows that I can come for his jugular, man. I have been here. Mark 2 has answered me several times. Not that Mark 2 ignores me. It's a lie. Not that Yomaps, even Kandeke has been responding to me. Even on the time that your Arabi's funeral, Yomaps and Kandeke were celebrating. They were even saying, oh, he's coming now to Kamponona. Mm-hmm. Didn't you see those posts? So you think they're not responding to me? They do. You know, even though Bubugaga, he never mentioned my name. Most people, they'll mention me. Do you know that if I landed in Zambia today, it would be a nationwide news? I would be broadcasted everywhere. It would be news on FM, probably on ZNBC.
I mean, of course it's going to be news because you have a lot of haters.
By the way, me I also have got goons in Zambia. I also organize. Do you think I can just come to Zambia and play? I also got goons, my guy. In South Africa, this guy. Go be na Harley Davidson way. Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. Musu wakwa fikira muntu boy. Waningeza pasanga ni kuminutu. Ndu chika kwa Obama na soba ni kwa vonde. Nini nankare mumpisha traffic.
Now, so the question is, why would you still want to put yourself in that situation though?
Which situation?
The same situation like that. Like, you know, if you have to go to Zambia now, you have to get goons, like, instead of just, you know, moving freely to where you don't have to.
It's such a type of lifestyle. That's why.
Instead of, look, if I go to Zambia right now, I can go anywhere, right? Except like Muma Kombon, if you're feeling like deep, whatever. But I can walk around anywhere, bro, without, you know, thinking like,
equally,
all right.
Equally, I can do the same. You know, I can even tell like I'm Zambia now. You wouldn't even believe.
So you think, okay, but you're not in Zambia. So the question is, if you go to Zambia walking around, you think nobody, my haters walk like that was Zambia. You think nobody
walk in Zambia, walk where? Walk where?
Lusaka.
More of my haters. Which part of Lusaka?
I don't know. Kusanga my haters walking.
Aben my haters fanga wakuma kombone wanes kuma misisi but now kombone to adikatike ntanti kutwali share ntanti. Which place now? You think in
you have your map slap? Okay, you have your map slap D Mark too.
So you think when I'm in North Mid, people will come and beat me up in North Mid?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know what they would do.
But do you know what I would do? I'm also dangerous. Hello, paka komo or paka le maneko.
But see, I'm not saying that you are not dangerous.
I'm just being honest. Being honest.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to send. I want to use this podcast to send this message clear. Akalumba napela mabanga. Na record tena ini. Elo in that case anafia mapanga then. Nzaka mlemalika chomozi. Family yake wazaka dandaula kulini. Koko is not a good person. And no one will come to defend you. Oba kutumfia mele yo maps. Saka ona. Nzaka olo kumutu ukando yeso misa. Nzaka kulizia chike kumutu. Zanga ni manslaughter. Go and defend myself. I told you I'm studying law. So ngati muntaina issue na ini. There are courts. Bring a call out. Why are you supposed to send goons? To do what? Me, I only use goons not to attack people, but to protect me. They are not even goons. That's the sort of protection. But if that person tries to say those goons are coming to attack me, I will also defend myself. And when I go to court, that will be self-defense. That will be self-defense. You understand?
Enough. Yeah, fair enough, for sure.
Yeah, if I come with my goons to attack your maps, now that I'm committing an offense. But if I'm coming to Zambia on my own and I've got my goons and someone comes and tries to attack me,